Teens, young people, switch it up. All right? Young people, unruly, causing a state of emergency in some places, right? Things are getting bad all across the board. Chicago, Jersey Shore, Los Angeles. Everything is just completely going. But I got a solution. Or I don't have a solution. They're testing out solutions in order to be able to get some more control over these little people. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me show y'all what's happening out in these streets, man.
Well, now to the latest on the civil unrest down at the shore this holiday weekend. A fight with teens led to a stabbing in Ocean City and numerous incidents with large crowds in Wildwood that triggered officials to declare a state of emergency. And that's where we find Action News reporter Charles Watson, who is live in Wildwood. Charles, what was supposed to have been a fun weekend to the unofficial start of summer turned into chaos for authorities.
Yeah, it was, Christy. And in the case of Wildwood, the city says large, unruly crowds of young people threatened the safety and well-being of residents and visitors here. Behavior officials say they will not tolerate.
Everything seemed under control and everybody seemed to be behaving.
Dan Schindler, the owner of Eastside Surf Shop, says Memorial Day weekend business and behavior on the boardwalk was fairly good. So he was surprised to learn the city of Wildwood declared a state of emergency that restricted access to the boardwalk shortly after midnight Monday morning.
They started to enforce a curfew last night around 10:30. For the most part, everybody complied.
Not enough, according to city officials who say civil unrest among large crowds of young adults and juveniles on Sunday threatened the public health and safety of residents and visitors to the shore town.
I'm trying to understand, before I head over to Jersey Shore or I go over to Jersey or wherever it is, or I go to the boardwalk or I go over and stay at the Borgata or whatever, what is so phenomenal outside of the casinos and the boardwalk about Jersey? I just want to know. Like, because, you know, when you go to a tourist destination or location, or you go for a particular reason, I'm not used to just going to places just for vacation or not going for a specific business reason outside of vlogging. So I want to know what's so awesome about Jersey or Jersey Shore or Wildwood or any of these places before I head over there.
Folks,
I like to explore before I get there.
Spoke to say they had no issues.
I feel safe, comfortable, and cool.
You couldn't ask for a better weekend.
The city isn't citing any specific incidents, but says the unruly crowds were so much of an issue on Saturday that police had to stop responding to some emergencies because it was inundated with calls. In a statement, Mayor Ernie Triano said Wildwood will not tolerate unruly, undisciplined, unparented children, nor will we stand by while the laws of the state tie the hands of the police. This follows a chaotic scene on the Ocean City boardwalk Saturday night. Police say they initially responded to reports of a fight around 9:15 that night. And at some point, they discovered a 15-year-old boy who police say had been stabbed by an unknown male. The scene was unnerving for some.
And we thought we were coming to the safest place, and it just was a little frightening.
Back in Wildwood, Dan Schindler says he continues to welcome a police presence because as business continues to pick up, it's helpful to shop owners and their bottom line.
Police do a great job just, patrolling the boardwalk.
Yeah, and Wildwood officials say the city is prepared for any bad behavior and will continue to be proactive in enforcing the laws here.
So, some schools have decided that they want to take control of what's going on with y'all kids because y'all don't have no discipline at home anyway. And so in order for you to even be able to get into the school, for example, at this particular high school in Ohio, you got to give up your phone. Let me say that again. I know y'all feeling some type of way about that because you want your kid and you think they special and all of that. In order for your kid to get inside of high school, you have to give up your mobile device. And they starting to have good results as a result of it.
Before the bell rings, students at Dunbar High School in Dayton, Ohio, place their phones into these envelopes labeled with their names and grades.
The mornings are just like TSA. Bags, purses, food.
Most Dunbar students have gotten used to the new norm, but some still try to sneak in their cell in a hidden pocket, a bag of chips, a book with a phone-shaped cutout, but this one takes the takeout container.
Hold on, wait. You telling me that these kids are so desperate to hold on to their phone that they basically doing the same thing that they doing inside of the prisons? I seen that same thing that they did with the Bible inside of Shawshank Redemption. Somebody went home, watched Shawshank Redemption, and basically cut out an entry point inside of their book in order to be able to get their phone. That's desperate. Boy, if that's not the most desperate thing to put it under the food, inside of the book, and the cutout, hidden compartments, this, man, listen, y'all better, y'all kids is bad. They bad.
Yep, that's a phone under the chicken. Language arts teacher and football coach James Lacking is part of the morning check-in crew. Do you have to laugh to yourself sometimes?
Oh, we have a good time. It's fun to me now.
The district leading the charge in a national battle in education to keep phones out of schools, and their mission is spreading like wildfire. Lawmakers in at least 10 states are already introducing or passing bills to ban the devices.
A number of Ohio schools have made the decision to eliminate smartphone use during the school day. And I believe clearly that is the right decision.
Spanish teacher Essence Wright says it wasn't enough to ask students to keep their phones off or in their backpacks.
What is going on with the phones in the classroom before this ban went into effect?
Constant notifications.
What does that do to learning?
It interrupts the whole process. It really does.
If now you have to address it, or you need to have an administrative moment in your classroom that could have all been avoided if it didn't even exist.
We used to send notes back and forth. And say, hey, do you like me? Yes or no? Hey, pass this over to such and such. And then your note get caught up because this dude ain't as self as he need to be, and he a fumbler, and he got hands like a bad basketball player. And so he fumbling the note. Next thing you know, your note getting read at the front of the class. That's how we used to do it inside of the 90s. That was right before we started getting the Nextels and the chirps and all of that stuff, right? And so if you had a cell phone in high school, you was actually balling. It was balling. And then right after that, we had got the two-way pagers and all of that stuff. So it's pretty interesting. And I can only imagine what the teachers are going through as far as trying to teach your bad kids with all of these cell phones everywhere, because the only thing that they care about is being distracted by what's going on it, and then making sure that they tapping into their Snapchat and their Instagram profiles and saying some stuff that they shouldn't be saying in the first place. So I absolutely 100% support this, because I also understand why we got distracted. A lot of our distraction was based off of being around girls, to be honest with you. It wasn't just the phones. It was the reason why we had the phones. And it was all around being around girls. That's how we got distracted. I'll tell you that I was most productive as a student when I was I went to an all-boys school. So before I transferred over into Cass Tech here in Detroit, which is the biggest high school and the most productive and the best high school inside of the city of Detroit, I actually went to UAD Jesuit. So my dad had sent me to an all-boys school, and our sister school was Mercy. But we were 100% focused because we didn't have nothing else better to do except for hoop and focus on our studies. And so we dedicated ourselves to community service. They gave us structure. They made sure that we wore a tie every single day. We could not come into the school unless we had slacks. And so, we were really, really, really focused when we were in school, because we didn't have the distraction of trying to get fresh every day in order to impress the girls. Half of us didn't even really care outside of just ironing our clothes and making sure that we had a decent shirt and a tie on, because you couldn't get into school without a tie. You couldn't get into school with jeans on. Jeans Day was a special day. And so we had to work to get the jeans day, and we had to do a lot of community service in order to get there. And we focused the majority of our time on our studies, and we didn't even get in trouble that often because we wasn't trying to impress no girls. The fact that I think that one of the things that we have to do, and this is a controversial idea, I could fix your schools. One of the controversial things that we should do is I think that we need to separate the girls from the boys. We need to separate the girls from the boys. 85-90% of what y'all going through and what your kid is going to be dealing with has to do with them trying to be so social and impressing everybody else that's around them.
And now it doesn't. Students don't have their phones from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. when school is dismissed. Hear that? It's the sound of students at lunch talking to each other and playing games.
What?
We were allowed to have our phones. Like at lunch, it used to be like really silent and like nobody would talk. So,
Seniors Jayla, DeAndre, and Rayvon, along with freshman Moses, say they understand the reasons for the cell
I
phone
like that name. Moses. Moses is a dope name. I actually like that name.
ban.
Raise your hand if your parents would say you are addicted to your phones.
that's all she say.
Yeah.
Do you think your mental health is stronger because of this cell phone ban?
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they always liked it.
Like, I'm always used to it, having it in my pocket, you know, so for it to be taken away, it's like losing a limb.
You weren't happy.
Do y'all think that as adults, forget the kids, because the kids is just the guinea pigs, but they actually gonna benefit as a result of it. Do y'all think that, because everybody is in therapy now, everybody is complaining about dating, everybody is having issues. Just a question. Do y'all think that mental health in general is largely affected in a negative way by the fact that we got these little small devices? I got two of them. I'm rolling with two at all times. I got the black one and I got the white one, easy to differentiate between what's what. One of them is business, one of them is personal, and I know if the personal one ring and it got a number that ain't programmed in there, I'm like, who is this calling my phone? Do y'all think that y'all mental health is actually affected in a negative or a positive way as a result of all of these devices? And if we had the option to be able to put them down, would we be better off as a society? Think about that for a minute.
In the beginning, now it's been almost a full school year. Has your perspective changed, and how?
At first, I didn't see like the reason for them taking our phones, but at the time it's passed, I've seen like the benefits from it, or how much of an effect it's had in classrooms and behaviors.
New data out of Norway reinforces what educators call common sense. After examining middle schools with phone bans across the country, researchers found that students saw higher GPAs, fewer mental health consultations, and more than a 40% decrease in bullying incidents. Some parents worry about not being able to reach their kids in an emergency. David Lawrence is the Dayton Public Schools superintendent.
When parents who push back and say there's an emergency, I need to reach my child during the day, what do you say?
I say that there have been emergencies throughout the history of school. We've always done a good job of being able to prepare for emergencies and then contact parents in a way that's meaningful and pretty swift based on the emergency.
Yeah. It looks pretty low tech what you're doing.
It is an envelope. You can buy them at a convenience store. And so you put them in an envelope, store them, and then give them back. It's really easy.
What would be your advice to other school leaders who are watching this and wondering if they should implement this in their school?
I would say that it's cost-effective, quick, simple, and easy.
7 hours of phone-free
That's the type
time
of people you
might
need
be
running
the
your
best thing
schools.
that's happened to education in a long time.
They are actually being children. That's exactly what we want them to be. These are the last years of their childhood, and we want them to live them.
That's dope.
Giant Uno. Think about the last years of their childhood. That's such an important point. And the superintendent says early testing has already shown increases across reading and math for every single grade, 7th through 12th. He's really...
You telling me your kids will learn how to write in cursive? I bet you most of y'all and y'all kids probably can't even write in cursive. Reading, we used to spend our time in the libraries. We used to do study hall, all of that stuff. The minute that you introduce co-ed back into the mix and you start implementing all of this technology without being able to cut it off or limit it, it messed everything up. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting. I definitely wanted to share that with you guys because I thought that